This is the budding engineer, and I'm bored. Let's do something. Well, this is my workspace. Just cleaned it recently. Yeah. Well, I guess we could make a speaker, but not just any old speaker, since there's loads of them on YouTube. Let's make the crummiest one that there is. Like the absolute worst. Right, so what we have here is the speaker driver. So you could tell it's not too bad. It sounds tinny and it's really shallow, so won't produce that much bass. The next thing we'll be talking about are the Bluetooth boards. I've been buying different kinds of low powered boards for over 2 years now, and I've come to find that this one is the best, even though it doesn't have an aux input. This one does, but I'm looking forward to experimenting with this, like programming it and stuff. This one came from an existing Bluetooth speaker called the Sound Square. Now, I tore this thing apart like a couple of years ago as a school project, but it still works, and it's not too bad. So if you want to use like a speaker that you have laying around, not being very useful, you could just tear it apart and like use the board and the battery. It'll make things much easier for you. But this one is the one that we're going to use. When you turn the volume up at maximum, it does distort, and that is what I'm looking for. A thing you could add to your Bluetooth speaker is a battery. Now, you don't have to run it off a battery. You could just like hook it up to the mains using a phone charger. Yeah, just one of these. So this kind of battery is called a LiPo battery, or a lithium polymer. Now, these things have a short circuit protection board in them. Now, another battery that you could use is what's called a lithium ion battery. Now, you may be familiar with the shape, probably seen it in some or many DIY videos, or in vapes, even though I don't vape. What you should be aware of these things is that they don't have short circuit protection, which is why you might want to use one of these chips, a charging and short circuit protection board, which means that you could safely charge these batteries using your phone charger. Simple as that. For us to actually plug the phone charger in, we'll need to use one of these. It's a female to female USB port adapter thing, and we'll just cut it in half and use one of the ends as the actual port for our crummy speaker. And the final thing we need is a switch, just a plastic one, and it's got to be latching. Like when you push it on, it stays on, and then when you push it again, it turns off. Now, you don't want one of those momentary ones where if you just push it, it goes on, but as soon as you let go, it goes off. Now let's go over the tools. For one, you'll need a soldering iron. This thing goes hot, don't put your tongue in that. Hot glue gun, because nothing screams quality more than a hot glue gun. You'll need a craft knife as well. Craft knife and a pair of scissors for some intricate cutting. Alright, we actually forgot one thing, the enclosure. So you could make it out of plywood here. That's just some very thin plywood. Or you could use this, just plain old cardboard. Looks beaten up, looks crummy. Yes. Right, so I plugged in the hot glue gun and the soldering iron. While we wait for them to heat up, let's start cutting. Alright, we could do things the proper way by making a box net, by just like making one or like printing it off the internet, but no, let's not do that. Let's just cut out some squares, because that's much easier. There you go. A pencil is optional as well. I do recommend getting a cutting mat, but I don't care about my surface, so it's okay. To make a cube, we need 6 pieces, so that's the first one we've got. Let's just, there we go, that way. Alright, that's enough for a speaker. Oh, wouldn't you look at this? Oh, wait. Right, the next thing we need to do is cut out the circle for the speaker. So just get your speaker, just draw a circle around, and here's the trick. You need to cut it a bit smaller, like a tiny bit smaller. If you just cut it like literally around the outside, then this will just go through. So just cut around this. And of course, do this at your own risk. This video is for educational purposes only. Here we go. And as you can see, it fits. Lovely jubbly. The next thing to cut is the switch. So just poke through, just make sure your fingers are out of the way. Make a little cross mark, like so. And just get a pencil, stab right through that. Just push it through and you're good to go. Yeah. We'll also need another hole for the USB port. So just again, stab, stab, stabby stab. You just got a shank lad. And just push that through. And you've got a USB port. So if you buy these, you will get a connector for each. So you could just like hook it up, no problem. But since I lost them, I gotta do it the hard way. Ah, ow! Yeah, I'd wear goggles for this actually. Here we go, out, no problem. Now I collected some random bits of wire. This will be fun. Let's actually figure out how this is going to work. So we have our phone charger here. It's going to get hooked onto the USB port, which in turn will be connected to the input of this battery board. The output of this will be hooked to the battery itself and the Bluetooth board itself. And in between that will be a switch, and on the output of the Bluetooth board will be the speaker. Make sense? A way of cutting the battery is just snipping one of them first, putting this away so that it doesn't touch the scissor when you cut the other one. You want to keep these away at all costs. And a way of stripping a wire, if you could see it, is you just cut into it. You don't cut the whole way through, just halfway, around halfway, and then just pull. Ta-da. As you can tell, this has a stereo output. It'll only come out from either the left or the right channel. Let's do the same thing for the switch now. Strip them off like so. Just twist it a bit, give it a bit of fatigue, and pull. Here we go. Now, this has some shielding in it. I managed to get that out, but if you don't, just like unwind it. Now, the wires that we're looking for are respectively red and black. Separate them and just cut these out. Now these wires are very, very thin, so what you do is just make an incision there, tiny one, and then just pull. Now let's actually do the fun stuff. Cue the music. burns.
Bluetooth mode.
Doesn't it just suit in any home situation? Whatever that means. Looks good on top of a fishbowl. You see, it just looks good anywhere. There's more things than a Bluetooth speaker. You could use it for baseball or bowling. Oh, I missed. And even Pong. So there we have it. The crummy speaker. One thing I like the most about this speaker, funnily enough, is it still works. It's just nice knowing that you've got something dependable, no matter how ugly or terrible it sounds. Unlike your expensive brands, let's say. And now let's do this again. This is the budding engineer. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.